everyone and welcome to a new video. My name is Ellie, I'm a long-distance hiker and backpacker, and over the last couple of years I've walked thousands of kilometers with my dog Otto. And over the years, basically since I started making videos, the number one question that I get asked all the time is Otto's backstory. How we met, what he's like, what are his favorite things. So in today's video I want to talk about that. So without further ado, let's jump right in and let's welcome today's special guest, Otto. Okay. Yeah. Today, the day I'm filming this, is actually a very, very special day because exactly 5 years ago to this day, Otto came into my life. That's when I adopted him at the end of 2020. And it was a real blind date. It was the height of COVID, the second lockdown, and we drove to a car park near Frankfurt. It was a Saturday, it was 4 p.m, it was winter, it was already dark. And yeah, we basically got there to the car park. We couldn't really talk to the other people that were also waiting there because, again, it was COVID, restrictions were kind of strict. But then a van pulled up, a van from Croatia with, I think, 20 dogs. And it was kind of surreal because the van pulled up, the volunteers got out, and then one by one they got out the dogs. It was crazy. It was so much barking. And we waited and waited. And then towards the end, there was a lady coming towards us, towards our car. And in her arms, she carried a small dog, which was Otto. He was too afraid to walk. She had to carry him over to us, and we wanted to get him into the car. He immediately wanted to crawl under the car and just hide. He was so afraid. We put him in the crate in the car, and then we drove back. And I can still remember it to this day. The car was so smelly. He was so smelly, obviously, because he came from a shelter. That's how it started. And also the day of one of the biggest changes in my life so far. But there's of course more to the story, a lot that happened before that. And in today's video I want to share how this came to be, how we found him. So let's rewind a little bit. When it comes to Otto's backstory, his life before he came into my life, I don't know a lot about that time, but he was born in the north of Croatia, in Varaždin. He was born as a stray dog, and for the first 6-8 months of his life, he lived as a stray dog on the streets of Varaždin, apparently. We don't know much about his life then, obviously. But we later, through an X-ray for another thing, but through that X-ray we found out that he must have been shot when he was on the street as a stray dog. So basically very early on in his life, basically when he was still a baby, a puppy, he must have been shot because he had a bullet, like a pellet from an air gun, under his skin that we saw when we did the X-ray a couple of years ago. It didn't do a lot of damage. It didn't go into the bone. It just like got stuck under the skin between the muscle. That must be one of his very early memories. And then when he was a bit over half a year old, he was picked up from the street and put into a shelter in Varaždin, which is, I think, the second largest stray dog shelter in Croatia. He basically lived there for the next almost 3 years of his life in an outside enclosure with other dogs. In the shelter, when he got there, he was named Osren, which is a Serbian, Croatian, apparently very common name. And in the shelter, from what we know, what the organization told us, what we read in his profile, he was apparently bullied by other dogs that he lived with. He apparently found a very clever strategy, that's what the organization told us, and he basically jumped onto higher things like these little huts they have to sleep in, or like on a little fence, on a little wall, like on a couple of stones, something like that. He basically jumped a bit higher to have his food there. He took his food there to not be bullied, to avoid the other dogs. And the more time passed, he was more and more stressed out by the situation, by the constant noise, the barking, the aggression. the conditions for him apparently got so bad that he was classed as a priority to get adopted. So in summer of 2020, when he was around 3 years old, so he basically had lived in the shelter for over 2.5 years by that point. And the shelter in Barastin, they work with a German animal welfare organization that's called Lesika. I'm going to link the profile if you want to go have a look, show them some love, because I think they're doing an incredible job there. It's all made from volunteers. They work mainly from donations, and they do an incredible job supporting that shelter in Croatia with providing food, medical care, but they also organize big spay and neuter programs, which obviously for stray dogs is one of the most important things to get like the situation under control. They also facilitate adoptions to Germany. And I adopted Otto through them. It's been a great experience. And because Croatia is obviously in the European Union, it wasn't too difficult getting all the paperwork and everything. It's basically the same regulations there as you have here for dogs. But let's go back to summer 2020. As I said, they were starting to get Otto, Osrin back then, adopted. And while they were doing that, preparing his profiles, taking his pictures and everything, there was me, a couple of thousand kilometers away, sitting at my desk at my 9-to-5 job back then. I don't know, somehow during COVID, it became a bit of a hobby for me to browse through different pages of animal welfare organizations, helping dogs. I've always wanted to adopt a dog, but with my 9-to-5 job, it never seemed really like that it would be possible, because I thought, okay, with commuting and everything, it was probably going to be quite hard. But then with COVID, my job changed, and I knew, okay, I would be able to keep working from home for the foreseeable future. So I thought, okay, this might be it. And I don't know, I just started to look for dogs, not really thinking that I would like adopt a dog within the next couple of months or anything. One Friday afternoon on my lunch break, I was scrolling and then one picture came up. I'm going to put it right here on screen. This was the first picture I saw of Otto, and I don't know, but something just clicked for me. I don't know if you believe in this kind of thing, but I do, and I think it was just meant to be. That picture came up. I was reading his profiles, reading how he needed a home. I just right there and then I just fell in love with him. I just knew, okay, if there's going to be one dog, it's going to be him. And I don't know, I really, to this day, I don't know exactly what happened. I'm getting a bit emotional now. I don't know what happened there, because at this point I wasn't looking for something, okay, I want to adopt a dog, which one is it going to be? But I had, like in the weeks before that, in the months before that, I knew that I wanted to do it, and I knew that it would be possible now with my schedule, my work and everything. I wasn't at this point yet where I thought, okay, I'm just going to actively search for a dog. Just knew in my mind that I was ready, and then just browsing through different sites, different profiles, and then he came up, and then I knew, okay, it has to be him. Something about reading his profile, seeing his pictures just spoke to me. That's how I made this crazy decision, because mind you, I only saw his pictures, I only read his profile. It was still in Croatia. There was no possibility to go and meet him. I emailed them a couple of days later, and then it was a lot going back and forth. Obviously, they don't adopt dogs to just anyone. You have to, they check your background, if that's suitable for a dog, if your your everyday life is suitable for a dog. There's a lot of paperwork to go through, obviously, so that it's all through the official channels and everything. So we did that. And then 2 months later, he came to Germany in this transport, in this van with the other dogs that got adopted that day. As I said, it was a blind date up until basically we had him in our car. We have never met him before. We started living together right away, which I know sounds very crazy. It worked very well for me, and obviously the organization, they know the dogs very well, how they describe them. They are very careful where they put certain dogs. but still, obviously, you don't know how you get along. So yeah, I feel like this was very crazy. But yeah, that's how it was. That's how we met. That's how he came into my life. Otto's first days, or the first time together, was quite hard for all of us, but for Otto especially. He had never, up to that point, had never lived in a house. He has never lived with anyone. He was just, basically, he always was on his own. He knew nothing. He couldn't really walk on the lead. He was afraid of everything, of the harness getting put on. He spent his first nights under the sofa, hidden somewhere. He was afraid of this like one step that you had to get over to go into the house he wanted. He was afraid to go down the steps or up the steps. He didn't go for a wee for over 24 hours when you first got him, which was crazy. Just held it in for so long because obviously there's a lot of stress. He was just in some sort of shock, not knowing what's going on. He wasn't potty trained. He didn't want to eat like his food just because it wasn't what he was used to. Obviously, nutrition has been a big issue in his life. He didn't get the best food. He didn't always have enough food. So that was very hard for him in the beginning. He didn't basically want to eat anything. He didn't even want to take cheese or a piece of sausage. So the first days were really hard. He just sat on his little bed, not knowing what he wanted to do. He didn't play. He didn't know how to play. He knew nothing. When we adopted him, they told us that he would probably not been able to walk any more than 10 minutes for the beginning and for the first couple of weeks. But, and that's the interesting thing, very quickly it became apparent that he actually wanted to go out to explore. It took a couple of days until his fear and everything went away and the dust settled a bit. But then we realized very quickly that he wanted to be outside, to walk around. It basically felt like he wanted to make up for everything that he had missed. He was so interested in all the different smells. He just wanted to walk and walk and walk. It was so nice to see, and that's really how it all started, because we realized how much he needed and wanted to be outside. When it comes to through hiking, doing multi-day hikes, I myself had started doing longer multi-day solo hikes about a year before I adopted Otto. And then when he came into my life and I realized how much energy he had, how much he wanted to be outside to explore, it just became the perfect fit when I quit my job a couple of years ago, and we just started hiking and living this life. And I feel like it's a very natural life for him, just roaming around, walking around all day, getting to new places, exploring, eating together, sleeping like side by side. I don't know, it just feels that this way of life suits him very well. As I said, I think it was really meant to be, and he was such a driving factor to so many things in my life that happened after, to me really quitting my job, really taking that big step to pursue another life, a life outdoors. For the last part of this video, I want to share a couple of random facts about him. I know that a lot of you are interested to know him a bit better, to know how he behaves, what he's like, what are his characteristic traits, and these things. Over the last couple of years, I've been asked so many times about his breed, and obviously, since he's a stray dog, we don't know exactly, but I recently did a DNA test. Obviously, they're not 100% accurate, but I thought it would be a fun little thing. I just got the results yesterday. I had a sneak peek because I couldn't wait. I was so interested. But the test actually said, buckle up, he's apparently 25% Jack Russell Terrier, which definitely matches his character, also his face. I think he looks like some sort of terrier, and that's what our veterinarian thinks as well. And then obviously there are a couple of smaller, like 5% that breed, 6% that breed. But then there's another big portion in him, apparently. Over 25% in him seems to be dachshund. It's definitely, if you see the long back and everything, his instinct to chase, to run around, to look into every hole that he can see, you can definitely see that, yeah, that's very likely that there has been some dachshund in him at some point. That's so cute to know that what I've always thought is actually seems to be correct. Things that he absolutely loves more than anything. Number one are definitely squeaker toys. He has gone through so many over the years. They're his favorite things. He can just, yeah, he will just, if he gets a new one, he will just go for 10-15 minutes, just squeaking, squeaking, squeaking all the time. Another thing that he really loves, and I feel like loves more than a lot of dogs actually, is sniffing. He can spend 5 minutes sometimes at the same bush, just sniffing at all different angles. It's so cute. Like he's really studying all the smells. And third one, I've already mentioned that, is that he loves walking around. He loves to check everything, seeing what's going on, look into every like open door, everything like that, seeing people come, people go. It's just, yeah, I don't know, just this, like he seems to enjoy life on the street, just seeing, observing what's going on. But there are also obviously a couple of things that he doesn't like at all. He doesn't like water. He would never go in a deep puddle. If he can avoid it, he would always walk around, which is, especially for hiking, a great thing, because he tries whenever it's possible to be to stay dry. He would never go into a river to swim. And the last thing that he doesn't really like that much is cuddling. He likes to get belly rubs and everything, but most of the time he would just lay down somewhere in the middle of the room and just turn on his back and requesting belly rubs. But most of the time he wouldn't come really close. If I'm on the sofa, he will come up and he wants to be close, but not too close. He would, for example, never crawl into your arms like some dogs do, which is sometimes makes me a bit sad, but yeah, it is what it is. It's not something that he really likes that much. And the last thing that he really doesn't like at all, that he really, really hates and he's afraid of, is shooting noises or like firework, anything that sounds like an explosion. Obviously, due to the fact that he was shot when he was very young, but that's something that still triggers him a lot. He would just freeze. He would try to climb into a ditch, hide somewhere. Yeah, that's just his basic instincts kicking in. When it comes to his character, what he's very good at, and what I think is the main, his main character trait, is that he's very independent, which can be difficult in some situations, but it also means that he's very good at being alone. He will just wait. That's the thing that he has done for most of his life. Same goes for adapting to new situations. He's very good at being in new environments, being on a train, being in different cars, things like that, in a different hotel, different place every night when we're hiking, which is a big plus. He likes his routines, and when we're back home, he likes his bed and everything. But new things, new environment, new people don't seem to stress him out. What's also really nice about him, that he's not barking at all. For the longest time, I didn't even know that he was able to bark, because he just didn't do it for years. He started about 2 years ago, but just out of excitement when we get to my parents' house and he's running in there, greeting everyone. But apart from that, he's not barking at anything, at anyone, which is obviously also really nice for traveling, for hiking and everything. And the same goes for managing other dogs. He seems to have a really good feeling about how other dogs would react, to read their body language and everything, because he never got into a fight, into trouble. Most of the time, he will just avoid other dogs. And last but not least, also very helpful for the life that we live, is that he's very friendly to people. A lot of the time he's not really interested in other people. He just likes to keep to himself a lot of the time, but he's not aggressive or anything. He's so gentle with children, babies, with people. He would, for example, never take food out of your hand or anything. He would not snap at anything. But of course, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. He definitely has his issues too, as I said, the biggest one being that he's so afraid of shooting noises. And the other thing that I think is the flip side of him being so independent is that he's quite stubborn. I think he's very intelligent and he knows commands, he knows a lot of tricks, but he's quite stubborn. And if he doesn't want to do anything, he just won't do it. But I feel like it's also a good thing, because it also means that he doesn't do things just for me. For example, if he doesn't want to walk anymore, he doesn't want to walk anymore, and he would just sit down. Food and food insecurity is still a big thing for him, and that's the last thing that he's not very good at. If I'm not being very careful, he would eat a lot from the street. Not disgusting things like poo or anything, but just anything that's human food, like pieces of pizza being thrown away somewhere in the bushes. He's very good at sniffing those out, getting them. And obviously we work on that, but still sometimes it's just very hard to get rid of, because he was so food insecure for so much of his life. But overall, even though he has his issues, I'm really happy that in the areas that are really important for me, for our life, that he's such a natural, like traveling, getting used to new people, new environments, new areas and everything. And that's for me the most important thing. I don't need the perfect dog, if it even exists. I don't think it exists. But the areas that are most important for me, that he doesn't snap at people, that he's not barking, things like that, he's very good at these areas. This is it for this video. But of course, because it's a special day, it's been exactly 5 years, we have to celebrate. Look at that. Isn't this so cute? I'm going to wrap up this video and give Otto the rest of his muffin. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think. If there's any more question about Otto, his backstory, let me know in the comments. If you've enjoyed the video, give it a like, subscribe to the channel. That would really mean a lot. Thank you so much for following our adventures, our hikes, supporting us. That really means the world, and I'm so, so grateful. Happy hiking, and we'll see you very soon.